Hey everybody, I'm your host Chris G, and this is Blurred's Eye View. Blurred's Eye View is a podcast that covers anything from geek pop culture and everything in between. We cover the latest and greatest. With me today is our guest host today is Michael Knightmage Wilson. Michael Knightmage is a worldwide known cosplayer who has over 200 plus costumes to his name right now.
Yeah. Yeah. 200. I'm sorry. I just got food delivered to me. Oh my God. I'm sorry.
That's good.
I'm fat. I'm
now
sorry.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, man. About 220 now.
200.
So yeah, I'm pretty much well addicted to the cosplay.
Oh, hey, wow. You're preaching to the choir at this point. So what was your latest cosplay you're still doing cosplays even though we're not locked down.
Right. I know. Yeah, we're kind of limited on we can't go to a certain place. Well, we now can, but we couldn't go to certain places, buy materials and stuff. So we were kind of really limited for a while. But no, I was still building, and that was the thing that was challenging because I was trying to build based on materials I already had.
Right. So
pretty much it was like closet cosplay type of stuff, but I had the bodysuits or I had the foam available. So I did probably about 17 this year. Within the lockdown period of COVID, probably I did like 10, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, the latest thing I just did was Chun-Li.
Which I've actually seen that one. Yeah, I did see that one.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Hey, when you're bored, these are the things we do.
I don't know, man. I always loved Chun-Li. I was just like, you know what? I want to do it, but I didn't want to do a straight up like female version. So I wanted to do a male version of Chun-Li. So I changed it up a little bit. I don't have the tights. I kind of made looser pants, and
right.
it worked out well.
Yeah, I seen your gender bin. You have to, everyone out there who's listening, you have to check out his gender bin on Laura Croft and Storm, which his Storm's fantastic. I love his Storm. And this is coming from a person who loves cosplaying as Black Panther. So not that you'll see me and Knightmage together like that. That's another show.
I mean, it's 2020, baby. We can, we can do some things.
Right. That'll be another show. Oh man. So otherwise than that, how have you been coping?
I'm good, man.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in Ohio, so pretty much everything's pretty much open now again. I know just across the nation, there's surges. So we're probably going to go into another lockdown here probably in the fall sometime.
Which sucks.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
Yeah, I'm looking at Arizona and Florida, and I think it's Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, these were the first ones to open back up, and I'm like, I don't think going to the beach would be the wisest decisions right now. So
just today, I've been working out. I've been working out at the where I work at the sheriff's office. We have a small gym,
mm-hmm.
and so that's what I've been working out at. Well, today was the first day. I was like, you know what? I don't feel like driving all the way to the sheriff's office. I'm just going to go up to Planet Fitness, and I got my mask, sanitizer. I'm going to wipe everything down. If it's not too busy, I'm just going to hop in, do a quick, 30-minute set. So I went in there. It was the first day. There was probably about 25, 30 people in there at any, between the time I was there. But I kid you not, there was probably about 4 people wearing masks. And the funny thing is, it's not a racial thing, but the funny thing is, the only people wearing masks were all the Black dudes in the gym. The Black dudes and the staff. We were the only ones wearing masks. So every time a Black dude walked in, he was wearing a mask. We kind of make eye contact, give a little head nod, shake.
Right. The universal shake.
Right. And then
acknowledgement, yeah. Oh yeah.
But no, it was this crazy thing. Like I don't know if people aren't taking it seriously or what, but you can. I'm not. You don't have to like be a hermit and seclude yourself. Like you can live your life, but at least try to be as cautious as you can with it.
Yeah, I've come across that myself. I've gone to several restaurants, around Cleveland, and I just throw my mask on. I work in a hospital, so I just throw my mask back on, and I walk in, and I'm looking around. I'm like, am I literally the only one? Like, I get if you're eating is one thing, but people are just not wearing the mask, and there's no semblance of one that you have one on. It's not hanging around your neck or anything.
Yeah.
Stores, grocery stores. Grocery stores are scary.
Dude, I'm in and out.
Yeah.
In and out.
Yeah, thank God I have, most guys, we have a list of what we're going to get when we're in the store anyway. So it helps to be in and out.
So, all right, this sounds silly as hell, but if I'm doing a store like Dollar General, where I know I'm running in to get like one or two items and that's it. I have a game that I play, and I play it often where it's like I call it Super Mario Brothers, where how you used to play, well, I know when I used to play Super Mario Brothers, whenever there was a water level, I would hold my breath while I'm playing the water level. So when I'm going to the store, I hold my breath and try and get what I need to do, go through the cash register, and then
See, yours is the Mario level. Mine is Luke Skywalker taking down the Death Star.
Okay.
I'm in and out. Either that or I'm Han Solo making the Kessel Run. So it's always one of those two. Like I could get it here and I could get out.
I get it. Yeah. Same thing. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna kick the show off. I'm gonna start with a little bit of bad news. Well, it's not little, but it's bad news. So, we lost a couple of people in the pop culture world last week, and two of them stand out. One of them was Disney animator Kelly Ashbury. He had passed from cancer at the age of 60, and he's contributed to such Disney classics such as The Little Mermaid, the animated version of Beauty and the Beast, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and Frozen. And he also helped he actually directed Shrek 2. So that was last week. Also, we lost Joel Schumacher, who passed away at 80. And Joel Schumacher is responsible for, films as Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, as well as St. Elmo's Fire, Falling Down starring Michael Douglas, and 8mm with Nicolas Cage, and Flatliners. And my personal favorite, and I'm pretty sure a fan favorite, The Lost Boys. So yes, we didn't like the Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, but at least he gave us Lost Boys. So, you got the good.
I still have fun with those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bat nipples and whatever.
It is what it is.
Yeah. We got it. Us as true fans, you have to take the good with the bad. That's just what it is.
Whenever you hear news of artists and musicians or influential people passing like that, it's so sad. But when you start reflecting on their body of work and how it influenced you and the culture, you're kind of like, man, they left their mark.
Yeah.
They did it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like they cemented their legacy. That's what life is about. So
look, the Lost Boys introduced me to the Doors.
Listen, I can't to this day, anytime I eat Chinese food, it doesn't matter what it is. I'm like, are those noodles, Michael? Like
you can't help it.
Like there's
You see the memes on social media with David as the better vampire than Eddie.
Dude, absolutely. Absolutely.
You're just like, hey, if I had to choose between these two, it'll be David, hands down.
Oh yeah.
I know he's no good, but I
This is
prefer
so
my
cool.
I prefer my vampires to be ruthless and not sparkle like diamonds. I'm sorry. That's just what it is.
I agree.
In other news, our favorite chainsaw-handed, aloof, and lovable slayer of Deadites, Bruce Campbell, just stated that the next Evil Dead film will come out. It's called Evil Dead Rise. Now, here's a little bad news with that. He will not be in the movie. He won't be Ash. There won't be any Ash. But he said it's going on its own. He said it's going to be called The Evil Dead Rise. He goes on to say that nothing will happen until 2020, obviously, or 2021, obviously, because of everything that's going on, and that it's a whole new ball game. No more Cabin in the Woods. And Sam Raimi has handpicked the next director of the film, which is Lee Cronin, whose latest horror film, The Hole in the Ground, was met with some pretty good praise. I read up on this film. I've actually been hearing a lot about it. I need to check this thing out. And probably one of the biggest pieces of news that come out from last week. So we're going to address the elephant in the room. Michael Keaton is in talks with Warner Brothers to play the Batman once again in the next Flash movie, which is rumored to be Flashpoint. And Deadline has confirmed that the report that Keaton would play Batman in a Nick Fury-like role and will continue to play the role in other DC films like Batman. So what are your thoughts on that? I could just imagine. Let's put it that way.
So, all right. When I first heard the news, listen, I'm not gonna lie, I almost messed my pants. Like, Michael Keaton is my Batman. I love, like, just how Christopher Reeve is my Superman.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton will always be my Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little bit upset when I heard that was going to be a Flashpoint movie because automatically I'm thinking, I don't want him to play Thomas Wayne. I don't want, you know what I mean? I'm just thinking of that whole Flashpoint storyline.
Right.
But I started really thinking about it. Was like, well, he doesn't actually have to play Thomas. If it's a Flashpoint movie, more than likely they're kind of going to try and do like a multiverse type deal.
Right.
So I believe that DC is smart enough to start listening to their fans. And what is it that everyone wants Michael Keaton to be? They want him to be the mentor for like the Batman Beyond, right?
Exactly.
That older, and I think that's what they're going to gear towards. So now I think that he's going to play kind of exactly, the Nick Fury role, cameos. There's going to be a Batman Beyond type, cameo there. He's going to be that older Bruce Wayne, and yeah, he's probably just going to be that center, like, focal point for all the timelines, which I'm cool with that.
Oh yeah.
That I'm actually pretty cool with. I just didn't want him to be the main focal point.
See, now when I first read about it and heard about this thing, my first thought was he's going to be old man Bruce. That's it. He's always been. He's like you. He is my Batman. I'm sorry, Michael Keaton. He's one of these actors who started out comedic roles. And
Mr. Mom is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mr. Mom is like the staple. And so when the word came out, when he was first given this role, the outcry was like, really? That guy?
Yep.
And he showed and proved, and he's come out, he's been, ever since then, he's been like, he's the guy. So it's really only 3 right now that's on my list as being Batman. Michael Keaton's number 1. Live action.
Okay.
But you want to talk voice work, is Kevin Conroy.
Of course.
And then
that's hands down.
Yeah, and then number 3, who actually redeemed himself, is Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
He actually redeemed, he for those who don't know, Ben Affleck actually played Daredevil, and it was kind of a letdown. The suit looked great, don't get me wrong, but the movie was a bit of a letdown.
Have you ever seen the director's cut of Daredevil?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Did it improve a little bit for you?
I think it improved. It did. It improved a little bit more after seeing that director's cut. And I love Kevin Smith. Don't get me. I love him. I love his body of work and everything. It was just Oh man, I think for its time, it might have been more ambitious than
Yeah.
it could have been. Obviously now they can do it as Netflix has shown. They can do it and make it extremely gritty and get away with it. And
Right.
that was probably the best way for it to be done. But Michael Keaton being sought with, he wasn't even sought after. I think fans have been clamoring for this for years.
Oh yeah.
He owns it. He did a graduation speech here in Ohio and at Kent State, where his old alma mater, and that was his last line. His last two words was, "I'm Batman." And the crowd went nuts, and it was viral, and everybody loved it. And
have you ever heard the Tom Holland talk about when they were filming Spider-Man: Homecoming? And he said, like, every once in a while, like while they're filming, they're doing lines. Michael Keaton would just lean over to him and say, "I'm Batman." And that's the thing, man. Michael Keaton knows it, man. He knows.
Yeah.
He gets it. And
it's the role it was the role he was born to play and didn't realize he needed. I just 2 weeks ago I was watching it on DC Universe. I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen it in a while. Let's watch it again.
Literally watching Batman Returns. Like, so I have a thing. Whenever I cut my hair or whenever I'm on a treadmill, I watch just a movie,
Mm-hmm.
And right now I'm watching Batman Returns. So actually, I love Batman Returns.
I remember that was a great. Oh, and for the regular people, Batman Returns is a Christmas movie.
It is.
That's just what it is. It came out around that time. That's what it is. The setting was around Christmas. That's what it is.
Watching it now, though, too, as an adult, there's a lot of sexual innuendos.
Yes.
And I do remember back then when McDonald's, they pulled all their Batman Returns toys because they felt it was too risque. And I remember at the time thinking, like, I don't understand, like, what's going on? But now watching it, dude, like, there's a lot of, like, sexual innuendos and just kind of adult jokes.
Yeah, I mean, you had Selena Kyle, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, who was, like, still hot, just like, you kind of can't see it no other way. So
that's like my ultimate hall pass.
Yeah. Michelle Pfeiffer.
In the catsuit, though.
In the catsuit, right. And still probably one of the best ones, next to Eartha Kitt. And she took a role and, my God, played it perfectly. And I'm not putting a pun on the word. It's just she
did. She really did.
She really played a really great role. And there are a lot of sexual innuendos in Batman Returns. Like, they're very, like, underlying jokes.
Yeah.
That, as kids we don't get because, you're just happy to see Batman on the screen.
Right.
I mean, other than the stuff that's going on, fans have always known, like, there's always a thing going on between Bruce and Selena. Even now, even in the books, even now, it was always this back and forth. It was always her teetering on the line. Like, her line of being a villain never went past robbery or any kind of theft. It just never did. She never crossed that line. So it was just
and that was, I think that was the reason why Batman always kind of entertained it, because he always teetered in the line of, I can turn her, or you know what, she's not doing that much bad. Let me, maybe we can work something. That relationship has always been,
and it's still a really good back and forth. Like, it's one of those relationships you're like, yeah, I don't mind them getting together, but at the same time, I don't want them to be together, because even in the books, and spoiler alert for those who haven't read it, they were supposed to be married or get married, and then they ended up not getting married because, as Catwoman states it, if she marries him, and even Bruce agreed, if he was to get married, the darkness would be gone. He would be finally happy, and she would take that part of him that makes him Batman, and she didn't want to destroy that, so to speak.
So arguably, because I actually just posted a picture of this today, arguably the only other person that I felt for Bruce with, that I was like, man, I wanted them to be together, is Andrea Beaumont from Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
That broke my heart.
That was
even as watching that as a kid, I'm like, man, Bruce loved her, man. Like
he was really into it with her.
Yeah.
And man, that when the turn came, you're just like, oh man.
Right.
That of all things that happened.
Yep.
That was great. The 90s animated Batman show is still hands down probably one of the best animated series of its time.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good, in fact, that it's still hard to find in its completion on DVD. Like the sets are always selling out.
I think because it was so perfect in everything. It was perfect animation wise. It was perfect writing. It was perfect voice acting. It was perfect. Everything about that show and every episode was perfect. Like you could tell they didn't try and fluff it. They didn't try and cut corners. Every episode they put their heart and soul into telling a story and making it the best they could. And it spilled over to when they made that movie. And dude, yeah, to this day, that if you were to put that on Cartoon Network right now, it holds up.
Oh yeah.
There's very few I don't know what. I guess there's actually a couple 90s like Batman animated series holds up. Gargoyles holds up.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Actually, X-Men holds up.
Yes. It's probably one of the best, as far as the X-Men, it was probably one of the best animated versions for Marvel, even now.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a lot of, between the Batman animated series and the X-Men animated series, there was a lot of social commentary that was being touched on.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember an episode in the Batman animated series where it's already a dark show. Okay. Even the score is dark, but there was an episode and it had to deal with the Scarecrow, and he took him on a mind trip that had him going so hard that it was just, I mean, like, I think he remembers seeing his parents and it was dark. And when the coin finally flipped, you're just like, oh my God. Like it was a bad fever dream for him. And it was intense. And another Batman show that did it was an episode of Batman Brave and the Bold, where Dietrich Bader was doing the voice for Batman. And as lighthearted as that show was, they touched on one episode when it was the death of his parents. Like they showed the gun and everything. Like it wasn't any blood, but they showed the gun go off, and it was literally dealing with the death of his parents. It was like a memory episode. And I'm like, wow, for this level of how it was, it went like, man, it turned hard, and man.
I would have to check that out. I love actually Batman Brave and Bold. That was actually a really good show.
It was.
We're talking about Batman, and I sometimes I don't believe in coincidences, but I don't. All right, we're gonna get way off kind of topic, but on topic. All right, real quick.
It's what we do around here.
We're gonna get kind of personal. So ever since I've had my CPAP machine, I sleep with a CPAP machine, I don't dream. I don't dream as lucid as I used to. However, last night, my girlfriend came in at like 2 a.m. She got off work, so she woke me up, and then I took the CPAP machine off, and I kind of went to sleep without it after she got home. I dreamt, and I had the most lucid Batman dream, and the dream was Miles Morales was in my city, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I had decided I was going to help Miles become this superhero.
Right.
Well, in the meantime, I had inherited the Batcave. Like Batman had either died or he retired, whatever. I inherited the Batcave, and so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to need some tech. I'm going to need some equipment. So I said, all right, let me go and investigate the Batcave and see what I can find. Well, there was like 4 or 5 entrances around the city for the Batcave. Right. So the first one was like in Wayne Mansion. Mm-hmm. So I punched in the code. The code was 4444. I don't know. So I punched in the code. But the weird thing was, and what I took notice was in the dream, every way to get into the Batcave was a fear factor type of way. So to get into the mansion, it was that typical, like, you go into a tube and you shoot down the tube into the Batcave. But the tube was, like, so tight, it was like claustrophobia.
Okay.
And I could feel myself being claustrophobic in that tube shooting down into the Batcave, right? Mm-hmm. So the next one was I got to go to a restaurant, and a buddy of mine was one of the waiters, and I had to give him a code, and he made me carry like a bird and a flower through the restaurant. And I really remember feeling embarrassed doing this. Mm-hmm. But then we got outside, and he let me into the entrance up to that Batcave. So it was kind of like an embarrassment fear there. Another one was going to Bruce Wayne's parents' graveyard, and it was out in the field, and it said, there was a tombstone at, actually, my captain, where I work at, the sheriff's office, he was like the groundskeeper. Okay. And yeah, dude, it was so weird. It was so like interactive. So, he showed me the way to the grave, and he said, you must pay your respects to the Waynes. So I had to kneel down to the Wayne's grave, and there was like a little button. I hit the button, and the grave opened up, and you laid down into the grave, and it closed up, and there was like a shuttle that takes you into the Batcave.
This is intense.
Dude, but it was kind of like you're trapped in a coffin underground. You're like buried underground. So it was like a fear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the last one I remember was, it was a mobster I had to go to, and it was kind of like that gray area with Batman where right and wrong, but sometimes you have to align yourself with the wrong people to get the right results.
Okay. All
right. So there was a mobster, and he had the code to get into like this other section of the city to the Batcave. So I had to go to him, give him the code, and he gave me, access. Well, it was like a little cart. You get in the cart, and it takes you on a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. And I remember specifically seeing like the roller coaster go up, and you can see the outline of the city and everything, and all of a sudden it drops, and it drops right into like a ocean, like just a lake.
Right.
And you had to hold your breath underwater for like a minute as the roller coaster goes all the way deep underwater into the Batcave. So it was almost like a fear of drowning.
Good Lord. So you got claustrophobia, embarrassment, being buried alive probably, and then drowning.
Yeah. So what I kind of took away from it in the dream was Batman, every time he was going to the Batcave to become Batman, he had to face a fear that made him tougher, that made him like, you know what? I'm facing this, and I'm doing this for the greater good. I don't care what it takes. I'm going to make it through this in order to become something better and something, you know what I mean?
Right.
Dude, it was honestly, it was the weirdest dream I've ever freaking had.
See,
but it was the coolest dream that just kind of, I don't know.
That is so much more deeper than what I thought you were going to say, because at first I thought you were going to say they was going to take you to the one alleyway where it looks like it's a trash dumpster, and it's really a false wall, and that's one entrance into the Batcave. And then, like, considering the fact that I wear a CPAP as well, I thought you were going to say that every time you put it on, you say something like Bane, You said line.
No, man, this was deep. This dream was deep. Like, I was actually, when I woke up, I was shook up. I was like, what does this mean? Like, I honestly was going to post, like, are there any dream interpreters that I'm friends with? Because I need you to try and figure out what this means. Because it was, I felt every emotion, every fear, but when I passed it, I felt empowered. I felt like, all right, let's do this, you know? And then once I actually got into the Batcave, each time I went in, there was like a new section I would discover. Like, it was awesome.
Oh yeah, that's intense. That's deep and intense. Like I said, every time I put my CPAP on and my wife is awake, I go, "You were merely adopted to the darkness. I was born in it." And I always do the breathing, you know. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I am your father." You know, she's like, "Would you just go to bed?"
You got to do it, man. You got to do it.
So it's like I do it every time. So, you know, I know what you're saying about the lucid dreams and stuff. Like you don't dream as deep as you once did prior to having a CPAP. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Man, that isn't. Hey, any Blurred's Eye View listeners out there,
please,
dream interpreter, come on to the Facebook page.
Please.
Go on the Knightmage's Facebook page and our Twitter pages. Give us some answers.
Because I'm looking for it, man.
That's a first for Blurred's Eye View. We're you know, I guess we're taking in like dream interpreters now. Let's go. Hey, there's dream interpreters in comics, you know.
Of course. You know what? This is a very obscure character. Actually, I was thinking about cosplaying Sleepwalker.
Oh yes, yeah, do that. Oh yeah, I would love to see how you turn out with that one. That was such a peculiar character that had such a, and at the time that was in the 90s. That was such a weird thing. Like the guy would go to sleep, and then that's when the Sleepwalker would appear. Like that was his.
He was a demon, but he wasn't. He was real, but not real. But he could interact with the live world, and he was. I don't know. I always thought he was pretty awesome. Like
I have a few issues of that.
Yeah, he always teamed up with Spider-Man. He was
between him and Slapstick, which I would like to know what happened to Slapstick.
Oh my god, Slapstick. That's an obscure. Like,
where was Slapstick during Civil War?
Would he have been any help, really?
Right. I mean, you had Civil War, you had Secret Invasion, and I'm like, hell, even Howard the Duck showed up during Secret Invasion. So,
Slapstick.
Like Slapstick was nowhere to be found. You know, but well, on to tonight's main topic. If anyone's out there been paying attention and watching any YouTube videos, the actor Josh Gad has been doing a series called Reunited Apart. And through the lovely people over at Zoom, he's already had the cast of The Goonies, Back to the Future, Lord of the Rings, and Ghostbusters all have shown up, read lines, and just reminisced over their time working on these iconic and nostalgic films. With the cancellation of so many conventions already across the country, which includes San Diego Comic-Con and SDCC, which will be free online, which is a good thing. So now everyone gets to experience Hall H virtually. Many other cons, such as GalaxyCon and WonderCon, have decided to do the same, with the exception of DragonCon, which is still going on down in Atlanta, September 3rd through the 7th of this year, which is, I don't know how they're going to pull this one off.
I don't know either.
Because, you know, San Diego is the big con on the West Coast. DragonCon is the big con basically down south or on the East Coast, however you want to look at it. So now, Mike, you know, as myself, we're both con goers, we're both cosplayers. How does this affect you, one, as a cosplayer? And do you think this will be the new normal, to go virtual with a lot of the conventions and the con going experience? It kind of takes away from a lot of it.
Has it been a change? 100%. Like, a lot of cosplayers, especially cosplayers that do cons, it's profitable for them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's because they're making a profit, whether it's because they're doing for charity, regardless, they're losing money. And just like the cons, like it's a business. It's not happening, so we're losing out on that aspect. It's difficult, man. And the thing is, personally, I'm really actually enjoying this atmosphere of the virtual cons because, dude, I've done probably 15 to 20 panels or workshops or interviews, podcasts, and even watching them on like the Late Show and those. I love the atmosphere because you get to see these people in their element. You know what I'm saying? It humanizes them. Like, I get to see this person in their living room, no makeup on, probably pajamas. They're probably not wearing pants. You know what I'm saying? It humanizes the person.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, I'm loving it. Do I think this is going to become the norm? No. There's no way that conventions could sustain itself just on virtual stuff. It's that one-on-one fan interaction where cons strive and they need to be. So I don't think this is going to be the norm, but I do think it's a great alternative until we can get to the point where we can do it again. With a lot of cons happening this year, I think it's all the cons have been canceled for me. Pretty much all cons are canceled for me.
Yeah.
I have like 2 or 3 cons at the end of the year that's scheduled, and even that is still, well, let's wait and see what happens at that, like 2 weeks before. Right. It's all up in the air. With the bigger cons like Dragon Con, man, I think that's dangerous.
It is.
I get it, and a lot of times with the bigger conventions, a lot of people don't understand that these convention owners, they have to wait. They have to wait until it's pretty much mandatory for them to shut down, until they get the governor's order to shut down. If they don't do that, they're out a lot. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they have to wait till the last minute till the governor's, the state says, nope, can't do it. Once the state says no, then cool, do it. But until then, 9 times out of 10, they're going to try and do it, because if they don't, insurance is going to be, isn't going to be covered. There's a lot of things that aren't going to be covered. Contracts aren't going to be covered, so they have to wait. So that's one thing a lot of people aren't understanding is a lot of these convention owners, they have to wait till they get forced to shut down. And I think that's the situation with Dragon Con. I think.
Yeah, I would hope that's the situation, because Dragon Con, I'm not sure. I'm really, with everything that's happened, I'm not even sure who was supposed to be there this year. Because everything kind of took like a backseat.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're both cosplayers in this field, and I have several cosplay friends who would normally go to this thing, and they've already messaged me. They want to do another World of Wakanda shoot, and go bigger. And this thing kicked off, and I'm like, yeah, we're not going. And I'm like, and I don't blame them. It's just too risky. This thing has, I can't remember the numbers on it, but if it's anything like San Diego, and that's a 3-day event, 4-day event, and it's insanely like in the thousands.
The only thing saving grace about Dragon Con that I can think of is the fact that it may be a little bit more spread out throughout the city of Atlanta than San Diego. San Diego's spread out too, but there's a lot of stuff happening usually in like enclosed areas. With Dragon Con, it's more it's just more spread out.
It
So
is.
that's the only saving grace I can think of with Dragon Con.
They're good
I
for
mean,
that parade that they always have, and they might not
Right.
have like their 24-hour something to do all throughout the night type thing.
Right.
I should hope they're not having their little dance party. If it
Well,
does go on, that's a late night party. I'm like, I don't think you want to do
I'll
that.
tell you what, their late night adult party is going to be interesting. You ever seen? Listen. You ever seen Naked Gun?
Yes.
When they had the body condoms on.
Right.
That's going to be every single one.
That's gonna be every late night party at the San Diego Comic Con,
or
at Atlanta, or at the Dragon Con. It's, oh my God, it's full body condom suits.
That's it. Everybody.
I would really hate to see them. I would rather, there's many of our friends in the cosplay circle who've just pretty much said, see you in 2021. We'll just wait. It's a bit of a blow. I was lucky enough, we met up at San Diego or Cleveland at the Cleveland Con through Wizard World, so we were lucky to meet up there, and that was the last one I was at. And
that was crazy because it was like literally not even 3 days after Wizard World Cleveland is when Cuyahoga County came out and said, "Listen, we got a spike in COVID cases. We got to shut this down."
Yeah.
And I remember talking to one of the organizers of Wizard World was like, "Dude, we just missed that." Like, and it's scary to think how many people at that convention, were carriers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? And, dude, it's a scary time, and it kind of goes back.
It's one of those, and for those who haven't attended the Wizard World Cleveland Con this year, we noticed a difference. It was a nice crowd, but it wasn't insanely packed. I remember the one year where who was all there? Oh man, the Russo brothers were there. Like literally the entire cast of Captain America's Winter Soldier was there. This was a year before Civil War was coming out. So you had the Russo brothers there. You had Chris Hemsworth was there. I think Bruce Campbell was there that year. And I was actually trying to see the Russo brothers. For those who don't know, the Russo brothers are originally Cleveland homeboys. They're from Cleveland, from the Tremont area. And, trying to get into the film industry and basically work as a scriptwriter or whatever, I wanted to see I wanted to hear what stories they had and everything else. And I couldn't even get into that room because they were doing their panel. And then after their panel, or right during their panel, Chris Hemsworth comes out. Well, all the ladies are there to see Chris Hemsworth. I'm like, well, hell, I'm never going to get in this room.
Me too. I was there.
I'm not going to lie. I had got a picture taken with Elizabeth Henstridge, who plays Agent Simmons on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and her booth was right next to Chris Hemsworth. And the curtain opened, and I tried to get my phone out really quick. And the curtain closed so quick, I'm like, So I'm like, but when the panel came up, and I was kind of mad because I was like, I got to the panel like an hour early, and I'm standing there, I'm like, all right, they're just waiting for people to come out, nobody left.
Of course.
Nobody left the panel room. Once he came out, it was just like, oh, unless you're VIP, you ain't getting in here. I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, it was that year was insanely packed. I think they had, let me see, they had two of the actors from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Chris Hemsworth, the Russo brothers. They had what is it, the gentleman that plays Crossbones in Civil War,
Frank Grillo.
Yeah, Frank Grillo. Yeah, he was there. They had a massive show of people. I mean, that was a big year. You had Karen Gilliam who plays Nebula, or better yet known as on Doctor Who, and oh my God, it was that was probably their biggest con that year. Well, biggest one in Cleveland that year, because of the people that showed up. They're like, you could not It was like if you didn't know who you wanted to meet, you met somebody. You know, you met somebody. You know, I ran across Jason David Frank. He's leaving a booth, and he shook my hand. You know, and I'm like, dude, thank you. You know, like you'll always be my green and white and red and black ranger now. So,
but speaking of Jason, man, Jason's one of those dudes. Honestly, when someone just talks about conventions, to me, he's a staple. Like his popularity has it fluctuates, but everyone knows the Green Ranger, everyone knows Power Ranger. But just him, as much as he does, he is so appreciative. Like as much as I've done cons with him, I've never seen him be, frustrated with, the time he has to spend with fans or mad the time he has to be like he's there, from the first fan that comes, and he leaves when the last fan leaves. Like he's just all about it. And I don't know, that's just awesome to me, man. His energy level is just off the charts. And like
I remember seeing him, and as a matter of fact, it was 10, 11 years ago when we met down in Columbus, and I seen him there. I didn't know he was there. I was actually working the con, as a line person, so I could get in free. And I remember walking the floor, and he was commanding that crowd, and they loved it. And that was like my first introduction into how big the cosplay community really, really is. And seeing how he got up on the table, and he does a shout, and they're doing the mantra, and they're doing everything. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This was the year, let me see. The shirt I had was yellow. I was wearing blue jeans in Elijah Dushku. And mind you, that was what they wore. The line people that worked, the volunteers wore, that was their colors, the blue or the yellow shirt and whatever jeans or pants they had, Well, here I am. What was I, 250 then? 250, 5'10" black guy, bald, and I look like Luke Cage. And here it is, Elijah Dushku, who plays Faith from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's walking out, and I just happened to walk out behind her, and they thought I was her bodyguard. I should have rolled with that.
You weren't sure roll with it.
But it's that type of stuff that I get that whole vibe from, and it's cool. And so you see what we're going through now, and it's amazing. We get how the convention circuit works. But for those who don't know, it can be very frustrating. They don't, you may not be able to get to see your favorite artist, your favorite actor, your favorite writer, or you might not get to see the celebrity, whoever, come in, or you might not be able to see the DeLorean in person, or the Ecto-1, in person or something, and it becomes jarring, I guess you could say, for them, because they're like, oh man, I had this cosplay, set up. I'm one of those ones who had a cosplay situated. I just got a whole Tesseract and a case created that I made and everything. To premiere Nick Fury, new jacket and everything, and now I gotta wait.
What, dude, it's kind of like I know so many people that like they were getting to cosplay, and I'm like, oh man, there's a convention coming up, I want to cosplay for it. And a lot of people, when they first started thinking about conventions, they thought like all conventions were the same. And so they just knew, oh man, there's a convention coming up near me, so I'm going to go to it. So they, going into it, they're automatically thinking, oh, Comic-Con. They think it's going to be like San Diego, New York.
Oh no.
Where, when they go to it, it's just like there's like one or two artists, and there's just kind of a couple of vendor tables. It might be like the mystery machine from Scooby-Doo, and that's it.
Right.
And they're very disappointed. A lot of people don't understand that there's levels to this stuff. You know what I mean? Like you have to kind of, it's kind of like going in and watching an action movie. Are you watching a Hollywood action movie? Are you watching a fan film? Are you watching a B movie? Are you watching a Bollywood movie? There's levels to the type of money that's put into this stuff and the production that's put in. So, you have to go in and know what you're getting into. So, yeah. Yeah, a lot of people just are disappointed, though, just in general. I think at this point right now, honestly, anyone would be happy just to go to a convention,
Yeah,
period. They don't care if, they don't care if it was D-list celebrities. They don't, listen, as long as it's a convention with people and they have a reason to dress up and cosplay, people are just going to be happy right now. And to me, I think that's awesome, because as soon as this is all over, and we can have conventions just popping up again, I think there's going to be an influx. I think people are going to try and go to every single convention they can.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a promoter, I think you're going to do well. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you're promoting then. It doesn't matter where you have your show. I think you're going to do well, just because people are going to be happy to get out and be there. You know what I mean? I think the first influx is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think that a lot of people will come in droves, and not care what kind of convention it is. They don't care who's there. They just, especially the constant ones who like to just go around and, create and make costumes, and just they want to premiere their stuff. I think that when it does get to some sort of normalcy where you can go, like in the case with Dragon Con, this is at the beginning of September. Here we are, we're getting ready to march right into July, so it's still another month and some change. We don't know what's going to happen. As I've just kind of poignantly coined it, welcome to the 6th level of Jumanji. We don't know what the 7th levels is going to hold at this point.
You mentioned it already. Look at Texas, Florida. Listen, they are shutting down as we speak.
Yeah.
Because they opened too early, and just it's going to spread, man. I think by September, we're going to be shutting down the entire...
If there's not slowing down, they're like, hey, we got to shut this down. Like in my best Negan voice from The Walking Dead, we got to shut this shit down, and so, we're dealing with, we've dealt with everything, and now we're dealing with a Saharan dust cloud, and I'm just like, okay, who had the Mummy for their 2020 bingo card?
I want to know what happened to the murder hornets.
Right, exactly. I seen a meme earlier today that somebody said, yeah, that's who it was. It was John Dudas from Carolyn John's Comics. He shared a meme that said, it's like somebody keeps going back in time and trying to fix it, and somehow it keeps getting worse. And I'm like, that does seem just like what it's doing. It's like, yeah, right. They got rid of the murder hornets, but now we have a Saharan death cloud.
Damn it, Barry!
Right,
Barry Allen. It's going back.
Screwing with the timeline, Barry. It's
actually that's a perfect analogy. Yeah,
and for us nerds and blurs out there, we know exactly what this means. At this point, like I said, with the Saharan dust cloud, I'm just like, hey, could somebody just call Brendan Fraser and have him come in? He knows how to handle mummies. Let's just get that out the way, like call him up, let him stop playing Robot Man for Doom Patrol right now, and just have him handle the mummy. Then he can go back and do whatever, So it's amazing what we're seeing and what we're dealing with. I hope. Well, I'm pretty sure this isn't the new normal, although there are some gems coming out of all of it. People are finding new talents and doing new things and finding side hustles. Like I said, Josh Gad, I've been watching his Zoom his Zoom shows, and it's nothing funnier than watching the cast of Lord of the Rings and then seeing a fully bearded Andy Serkis Xerxes do Gollum. You know, it was like, wow, he's grizzled. He's very grizzled, and he's doing Gollum, and I'm very concerned. You know,
That's what I'm talking about. It's real, man. It's just like
but
these dudes are just like, man, I'm bored. Let's just do it. Whatever. Like,
and it's so much, and they're so appreciative of it, and you know, you're sitting back and you find yourself reciting some of the lines. You know, when he did when Josh Gad did the Back to the Future Zoom mini, that was hilarious. You know, because I can't remember the actor who plays Biff, but he shows up with a mask on, and he's like saying all the lines, and at first he didn't know who it was, and he was like, "Oh my god," you know. So, you know, but there's gems that's coming out of it because people are finding other ways. You know, they're finding ways to kind of connect.
Can you imagine if we didn't have this technology?
Oh, we'd be going nuts,
dude. Like,
we would go completely. I mean, unless you're an extremely avid video gamer and you never leave the house, like they're just like, oh, there was a shutdown. I had no idea.
Right, I know.
You know, not teasing my gamers out there because I know what it's like. You know, but it was, hey, you guys, you go to work, you come home, you play Red Dead or something, or you play Call of Duty. I won't see you for a while. For me, I'm watching films anyway. I'm catching up on shows. I'm like, hey, look, I'm watching Stargirl right now, and I love it. So
I couldn't imagine, man.
Yeah, I think we would just go balls to the wall bonkers, and we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves. But people, thank you for tuning in. Mike, anything you want to plug? Go ahead. Take it.
Well, listen, like we kind of alluded to, I ain't got crap going on, dude. Like, listen, I have nothing going on. Like, I'm literally, honestly, every day, I'm working, obviously, still, and I'm loving doing shows like this, and I'm still creating. You know, I'm still looking for ideas and creating when I can, and doing photos and stuff like that. So, you know, hey, my plug is shoot me ideas. Give me something to do.
So tell the people, how can they reach you?
You can reach me on Knightmage on Facebook, or Knightmage1 on Instagram, and Knightmage on Twitter.
And let me tell you, people, when you go to his pages, your mind will be blown.
All right, so the funny thing is, you just said that, but literally probably about right before we did this interview, I posted a kind of selfie with my ass showing. So, yeah, if you go to my page right now, your mind might be blown.
You might see that. Oh yeah. Speaking of which, what is with and see, and I'm interested now. This isn't the pineapples on pizza debate. This is the pickles on pizza debate. Tell me, he had a white garlic pizza with pickles on it.
Listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. So, me and the girl, we decided to have a pizza party today. We're just gonna have a pizza party. Me and her, just a pizza party. All right. So, Wedgwood Pizza. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's other places, pizza places that does this, but Wedgwood Pizza. So we're looking online, and they have a pickle pizza. So we look it up. It's basically a white pizza, so that means there's no red sauce. Mm-hmm. So it's just dough, olive oil, like a lot of olive oil, garlic, like a crap load of garlic, pickles, and then mozzarella cheese. That's it.
For some reason, I found, and I'm gonna tell you why this sounds good to me, because I like eating fried pickles and I like cheese sticks. So
let me tell you something. It is so good. Like, the garlic is just so much garlic with the pickles. Like, the pickle flavor isn't overpowering. The garlic isn't too garlicky because the pickles are kind of counteracting with it. Between the crust, it just.
See, now I have to. I might end up trying to make this thing.
Dude, listen, if you make pizza, it's not hard. Again, it's literally just olive oil, pickles, and garlic.
These are things that I already have in the house.
Yeah, just a crap load of minced garlic.
Yeah.
And, dude, you're good.
Oh, I definitely got to try this. The pop culture show just turned into a Food Network show. Like,
I will tell you, it's oily because of all the olive oil. It's very oily.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when you look at it, your heart might skip a beat because you're like, oh my god, wait, I don't know if I can handle this. But once you taste it, you're like, oh yeah, this was the right decision.
Oh, pickle pizza. That's
pickle pizza.
Man,
I love pickles. Like I love picklebacks. You know, the alcoholic drink picklebacks. I love like all sorts of flavored pickles. I love pickles. So the pickle pizza, I was like, yeah, that's
it was a winner. It was a.
Oh, so good.
Oh, well, Mike, I appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you for tuning in for it.
Thank you for having me.
I will be calling you again.
Yes.
We'll have to trade recipes.
Dude, yes. Yeah, I mean, dude, my recipes might kill you, dude. Like,
if people that's tuning in, if you check out his Facebook page, Knightmage is a bit of a foodie. He's not just a cosplayer; he's a bit of a foodie. And you know, I'll be the first to admit the stuff he's eating. Damn, it looks good. I'm like, I
might recommend it for other people. I don't recommend it, but it's good.
I find myself quoting Ron Perlman's Hellboy when I see it. I'm like, oh, that's gonna hurt in the morning. You know?
Yeah.
It's gonna be sore in the morning. You know? But thanks for coming in, Knightmage.
Dude, thanks for having me.
No problem. Everyone out there listening, you can tune in to Blurred's Eye View on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out our YouTube page. When next time you listen for us, we'll be talking about something new. And if you want to talk about something different that's going on in the pop culture world, go ahead, drop us a line. I'm your host, Chris G. Until then, Blurred's Eye View out.
Peace.